Texas Governor Greg Abbott continues to take matters into his own hands, enlisting the Texas National Guard to assist with migrant arrests at the Mexico border, as 50,000 illegals are released into the United States without a court date, and only a fraction bother to report to officials. Meanwhile, new reports coming from Border Patrol sources that COVID-positive illegal immigrants are being sent to local hotels to quarantine, but there's nothing to stop them from leaving. Watch Democrat Texas Representative Henry Cuellar.
You saw what happened. They released people in a hotel, but nobody watches them. There were some of them that were sick, they were positive, walking around.
Joining me now, House Border Security Caucus co-chair, Texas Congressman Brian Babin. Quickly want to get your reaction to that.
Well, it just shows the absolute hypocrisy of the Biden administration. You know, when the CDC comes out with new guidelines for Americans, even U.S. House members are having to mask up again. Here's the Biden administration allowing COVID-positive illegal immigrants to come across by the thousands. We had 20,000 cross over last week. So, I think it's a record, and these people are actually being released into Texas. They're supposed to be quarantining at a local hotel because they've tested positive, and there's nobody saying that they need to stay there. They're not masking up. They're not covering their mouths. They were in a restaurant. A police report in La Jolla, Texas, said that there were many customers in there that were very concerned about this family that were obviously sick. And sure enough, when they questioned them, they had been released. And they were supposedly in a hotel, and they left the hotel, went to the restaurant, spreading COVID, and there was nothing keeping them from going anywhere in the United States of America.
Congressman, if I may just pause for one moment, I want to bring our viewers' attention to what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now. Voting has begun on the Senate floor on a bipartisan infrastructure bill. 60 votes are needed to pass in order to move to the debate stage of this. So you can see the senators gathering there. It's been something that we've been talking about for a good portion of tonight's show. So I just wanted to bring that update. But I want to come back to the border conversation and COVID as well, because to your point, in McAllen, Texas, for example, the city tested 5,398 migrants for COVID. 427 of those were positive. That positivity rate is 7.9%. Here in New York City, when things were at 7.9%, this city was shut down.
Right. Well, that just tells you the hypocrisy. It's just incredible to see what the recklessness of the Biden administration and the DH, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, Mayorkas, and what they're doing to the United States and to the American people. And you have to question, you absolutely have to question their morality and their integrity, and why in the world they would be putting people at risk and actually spreading during a pandemic. And how in the world could someone with any kind, even a smidgen of morality, be able, and the character to be able to do something like this? And they've sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution and protect the American people and to protect the migrants themselves. And yet they have invited these people in. They're talking about, in fact, one of their bills, the Democrats are going to put amnesty in. They want them on a pathway to voting as quickly as they possibly can. And really, the only solution here to keep these people and keep us safe, and that is the Title 42 public health restrictions. Turn these people back during a pandemic and deport every one of them.
Congressman, real quick, I want you to watch this soundbite of Sergeant Michael Casas of the La Jolla Police Department. Listen.
If they want to leave and get in a car, we cannot stop them. We don't have no proof that they are positive for the COVID-19. And until there's a mandate that gives us the authority to do that, we cannot stop these people from moving wherever they're going to move.
Your reaction in roughly 15 seconds.
My reaction is that the federal government under President Biden is endangering the national security, our public health, And a crime wave is sweeping over our nation for many, many reasons, but open borders is one of them, defunding the police. And we absolutely have got to get a handle on our border. And that's why I'm so proud of the state of Texas for stepping into the gap to stop this
Congressman,
ridiculous stuff.
I'm running out of time, but we had a great conversation. Thank you so much.